All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Evelyn Prim. I'm the Communications Coordinator for the City of Montpelier, and I am here today with Carol Plante, the Director of the Community Justice Center here in Montpelier, and she's going to run through the fiscal year 2024 budget for the CJC. And so I will share our screen so you can see our presentation. All right, take it away.
All right, so we're talking about the 2024 budget and what we built here. I'll start with our organizational chart. So I report to the city manager. We get our funding from the Department of Corrections. We also have a community advisory board that helps to inform our work and help us think about strategic planning and how we are integrated into the community. And under me are three positions. There's a program coordinator, Shakia Woods. She likes to be referred to as Kia, and she handles all of our restorative justice panels. And then Alfred Mills is our reentry specialist. He works with our transitional housing program and our circles of support and accountability. And then we have Ava Zimmett, who is our victim services specialist, who we actually like to refer to as working with our affected parties or impacted parties. And so the numbers of hours for us are that I am 1 full-time equivalent. Kia is 0.6 and Alfred is 0.9 full-time equivalent, and Ava is 0.375 FTEs. So our budget, this is combined for both of our grants. So we operate under two separate grants from the Department of Corrections. We have a transitional housing grant that's $106,100, and then we have what I refer to as the base grant, which is $189,350, and that figure is an increase of 7% from the previous year, and we are not certain that that is going to remain, but that's where we're at right now, is the $189,350 for that grant. So as I said, we have a 7% increase in the DOC base grant for fiscal year 23. That's where we're at right now. This year, we were also granted an additional $5,000 to support our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And so I'm looking for ways that we can benefit not only the Justice Center and our volunteers and staff, but also putting something together that's going to benefit city staff, other city volunteers, and the community in general. And we haven't settled on what that's going to be yet. This year to date, we have a 45% increase in restorative justice referrals. So that's just for the first quarter and measuring that against the first quarter of fiscal year 22. And we're showing a 29% increase with our circles of support and accountability for that same first quarter compared to last year. Mind you that for the circles of support and accountability, the difference is that we have 5 going right now. Last year we had 7. So it's not significant, but the percentage makes it sound like it's a lot. So our plans for fiscal year 24, we have decided to keep our salaries level funded. And if we're able, we will adjust. So because of increased costs, in part for benefits, it's difficult for our department because we're a net neutral on the budget. It's difficult for us to anticipate whether we're going to be able to stick with the personnel plan. And so that was the decision that I made for fiscal year 24, just to make sure that we can really work within the parameters of our funding. I'm anticipating $14,000 and potentially more in funding to support our Parenting with Respect class implementation. And that hinges on writing an application and getting through an accreditation process with the Vermont Network Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, who is eager to support this work. And the reason they are wanting to grant us funds to do this is because they don't want finances to be a barrier for any of the men who take this class to be able to take the class. So I've let them know that it's not sustainable for us to continue with the class without having some kind of financial support. And primarily that is so we can train people outside of Montpelier to be able to deliver it, and also to hire a co-facilitator to do that 10-week class. Our projected income, program income in fees is $9,500. That is variable, and it depends on what we get for referrals. And also in terms of equity, we also consider whether people can pay. So the amount of program fees that we collect might end up being lower than that. I do want to mention too that $9,500 also represents a portion of that is a fee that we get from Alfred co-facilitating the revisions domestic violence prevention class that he participates in every week. So our strategic plan contributions, we want to build on the concept of a restorative city, and that means just continuing to embed restorative processes and the idea of restorative justice citywide with both citizens and with the city. So that means an increased internal use of restorative processes within the departments. So we're available to help within departments to resolve issues and use a restorative process to help any kind of conflicts get resolved. We'll continue to promote the conflict assistance program, and that is where we help people with mediation or other processes to help with things like neighbor disputes. We get referrals from law enforcement for things like that, and then we also get calls directly from people in the community. We want to increase opportunities for our pre-charge referrals by local law enforcement, schools, and other entities, and that's an ongoing effort that we have every year.
Okay.
So to finish up, opportunities and challenges, I'll start with the challenges. We have been historically level funded by the Department of Corrections, and at this point, there's no guarantee that we will even retain the 7% increase that we got for fiscal year 23 in our base grant. We have limited staff capacity to do fundraising and grant writing. That is just the nature of the work that we do, and the nature of my job, and we don't have the capacity to really do much with that. The statewide structure of community justice centers might be impacted by legislative mandates. There are a couple of prospective bills that are maybe introduced this year. The Joint Justice Committee is doing some work around figuring out what they think the structure of community justice centers should look like around the state. And then I just heard about another legislator wants to introduce a bill that would send all of our pre-charge referrals to court diversion, which is about a quarter to a third of the amount of referrals that we get in our restorative justice panels are direct referrals from law enforcement. And we serve 4 law enforcement agencies: Montpelier, Berlin, Northfield Police, as well as Vermont State Police. So that would have a really huge impact on our community and the work that we're doing. And I think it would be a really negative impact. For opportunities, the grant income to support the Parenting with Respect class, that would be a real bonus to us. And I anticipate for 24 that will happen. An increase in program fees for contract work. So we do get requests fairly regularly from people who want us to do training and dialogues and mediation that's outside of Montpelier. And so we do charge program fees or charge fees for that. There is also the potential for expansion of our reentry referrals due to the Department of Corrections priorities that are primarily based on the justice reinvestment work, which the aim there is to keep people from either returning to jail because of probation or parole violations, or people just not going to jail, but who need extra support in the community.
All right, thank you so much, Carol.
Great to be here.